Okay, I see legal right there.
What's up, Squids? Welcome back. The time has finally come to change the color on the ZX-10, and I am super excited to announce a new partnership with ABS Fairings. That's right, they are sponsoring the channel. They're sponsoring my page to change the color of the ZX-10. And I know some of you guys might be thinking, you are crazy to change this beautiful green color. I know, I'm gonna miss the green a lot, but I promise you this new color is just as equally, if not even better than this green color. And I'll show you guys that now. We got new fairings from ABS Fairings, and we need to take the whole ZX-10 apart, basically make it a naked bike. We got to take all the fairings off and swap them out. So I still have these fairings if I ever want to go back, but I have a feeling you guys are going to really like this new color. It is absolutely beautiful. So by the thumbnail, you've already seen the color, but I want to give you guys a better look. And we'll just take this one specific tailpiece so you can really see how rich and vibrant this purple is. I mean, wow. Is that not beautiful? And look, it even has some gold flake in it, so it'll match the gold chain and all the little gold accents on the bike. I mean, look how nice that matches. And I love that it gets like this deep, rich purple color, and then in the shade, it almost looks black. Like from a distance, if you look over here, it almost looks like I just have black fairings. So I can't wait to get this on. I mean, this is gonna be absolutely insane. Oh, I can't wait. All right, let's start stripping the bike. So I think the first part I'm gonna start on is this rear tail section because it's just gonna be quick and easy, and I wanna see what the bike looks like with these new purple fairings on it. I also have a bolt kit from ABS Fairings. They sent me this. They can do the bolts powder coated in any color that you want. I just chose to go with black to keep it subtle. I did think about going gold, but I didn't want to just go overboard with the gold on the bike, so we went black. But if you guys order a kit from them, you can order just bolts if you want just a bolt kit to change the bolts on your bike, which adds like a really nice look to your bike, or you can do a full fairing kit with the bolts. It's entirely up to you, but I chose to go with the black bolts, so it'll be nice and subtle, a little different than the silver bolts that are all over this bike now. You'll see me taking them out, but I think the black will look really nice. So let's strip apart this tail, get the fairings on the rear, see what it looks like, and then we'll keep working our way through the rest of the bike. Got the seat off, the rear passenger seat. Now we have to strip these plastics. It's comprised of basically 3 sections. So you got this main tail section and then these 2 outside pieces. And we got to figure out how to get the key tumbler essentially into the new piece. So I have a bunch of the pieces laid out here, and then I have a bunch of pieces still in the box based on kind of what I'm using, but there's the one with the keyhole, so we got to get that set up. Okay guys, so the rear section is done. There you have it. Take a good look. What do you guys think? I think it's coming along nicely. I can't wait to see how the rest of this bike looks with this purple. The rear section was not too difficult. This part was the most difficult, changing the tumbler, and the tolerances on these aftermarket fairings are a little different than stock ones. I did have to take a tiny bit of sandpaper and just kind of put my finger in that hole and go back and forth to just get a little more a little more clearance out of it, just to fit the tumbler in. It was a little too tight because of the paintwork, and that's normal. Anytime you get anything painted, you might have to just sand certain sections a little bit just to make it ever so slightly thinner so you can, fit pieces where they need to go. But other than that, there wasn't really any hiccups, actually. Everything fits really good. I know there's a lot of, negative feedback sometimes on aftermarket fairings on the fitment quality, but I mean, I think these are honestly really solid. Like, actually, from factory, this rear tailpiece does not fit well. Like, if you look at the factory Kawasaki one, there's like usually a gap. I think this one actually might fit better than stock. So that's definitely a plus, but yeah, looks really good. You got the Gold Ninja. I did drop this one, which I'm not happy about. So there's like a tiny, let me see if I can show you. There's like a tiny little blemish there now because I dropped it. but whatever. It is what it is. It's a bike. It's gonna get beat up, but man, oh, that purple looks so good. I can't wait to keep going. So now on to the rest of the bike, which is a lot more work. Stay tuned. Now we are stripping apart the tank section of the bike. We're gonna replace all these fairings and put the tank cover on. And what I noticed on the OEM ZX-10 part is that there's foam on this piece that spaces it from the gas tank and prevents it from like scuffing and I guess rattling around. So what I did is I took the foam that they gave me, which is like a heat reflective material for the fairings that are near the exhaust, and I'm sure there's gonna be plenty extra. They gave you a bunch. I just double layered it here to imitate the foam piece that's on the OEM piece. So hopefully that makes it so these parts aren't like rattling and sound cheap and plasticky. Now it's time to install the tank cover, but before we do that, I have to take my tank grip off. And unfortunately, because it's adhesive and this is vinyl, I have a feeling that's gonna rip. So if I ever wanna go back to the green, I am probably going to have the tank rewrapped, and with that Kawasaki graphic there too. So we'll see. I'm gonna pull this off. Maybe the vinyl will hold, but I doubt it. I really think it's gonna peel off with the tank grip because I can't keep that on there. There's, you know, minimal room for anything extra. This fits really tight against the OEM tank, which is great. That's what you want. But in this scenario, it just kind of is a bummer if I have to take the vinyl completely off. Well, okay, I guess I'm gonna eat my words because it actually stayed intact. It peeled off. It did leave sticky residue, which is a good thing because we want the tank cover to stick really well. So I'm just gonna leave that. I'm not even gonna bother cleaning it right now. And we're good. The vinyl stayed. It didn't peel at all. Mind you, I did not use any heat. I was scared to use a heat gun because then I felt like the vinyl was gonna warp and twist because it's, you know, you can bend it and move it around with heat. So I didn't use any heat. I just dry peeled it off, and it worked out. So we got really lucky. Here you can see that I put tape on the inside of the tank cover. This is 3M double-sided tape. It is not included in the fairing kit. I just happen to have some, and you will want to do yourself a favor and get some because this is going to keep the tank cover on nice and, you know, firm, and it's going to prevent it from rattling. You want it to stay on there, and you don't want it to squeak and rattle and annoy you while you're riding. So it doesn't need to be completely covered in tape. I actually did a medium generous amount. You can put more if you like, but don't overdo it because then if you ever have to take it off, it's gonna be a real pain. So this should be plenty. I just put it in the areas that I noticed when I test fit that there should be like a little extra panel space there. I didn't want to put it anywhere where there's not a lot of gap between the original tank and this cover. For example, I didn't put any around the actual gas cap because I didn't want it to lift this piece up and it looked ridiculous. So I just put it in the areas where I kind of pushed down on this piece and felt like, okay, there's a little wiggle room here. That's a good spot to put a piece of tape. Halfway there, she is coming along nicely. This thing looks so good. I love it. Oh my God, I'm so happy with this color. I mean, just look at that. Like without the green in the picture, it looks sick. Obviously with the green, it doesn't really go so well. But I am really impressed with ABS fairings. I did my research before I reached out to them to work together, and I heard really good things about them, so that's why I chose them. I do not want to represent any brands that I don't believe in, and I really am impressed with ABS fairings. I mean, this is solid. This is quality. Like, there is very little to no creaks or noises when you push on these fairings. Like, you would think this is the actual gas tank. It's all very, very, very solid. I am really happy. You know, obviously there's gonna be a little squeaks and creaks here and there, but for the most part, I mean, this is really solid. Like you'll even hear it on, look, OEM fairings like make noise. So I gotta say, I'm really impressed. ABS fairings knocked it out of the park. There's a few little tolerance issues, such as maybe a bolt not fitting in the hole without you like kind of sanding it and working it through, but I made it fit. It worked out good. Everything lined up really well. If you take a look at the other side, you have to work it a little bit to get everything perfectly in place, but it really didn't give me much trouble. It wasn't too difficult. And to be honest, the OEM fairings in this section of a ZX-10 are pretty difficult themselves. So I am really impressed with ABS fairings. So now the next step is to start pulling apart the front. We have to pull all the side fairings off so that we can change out the front nose. That's probably the biggest job out of all of these. So not really looking forward to that part, but I want to keep moving forward and I want to get this thing fully done and see what she looks like. All right guys, so we are back. It is the next day and the ZX is really stripped down. We got the whole front end off, the side fairings and everything. Now is the tricky part because I have to start transferring all of these wires and everything to the new fairings. The other fairings are pretty simple. You just kind of bolt them on, but there is so much going on behind that like front windscreen section that I have to not reroute, but I have to attach all of the lines and everything that's there. So this part is not really fun. I'm not gonna film all of the little details, but I'll give you guys an update in a little bit. We're gonna start swapping some pieces over. The ZX-10 is coming together really nicely. There's just a few more pieces to throw on, so I'm gonna swap those on now. But I wanted to give you guys a quick tip. If you're doing fairings on your bike, I strongly suggest you add some foam to the inside of the panels. And I noticed that Kawasaki actually does this from the factory. If you take a look at these panels here, you have the factory panel and you have the ABS one. There is foam on the inside, and they do this to reduce the rattle and vibration of the fairing panels. So I replicated that using ABS fairings heat shield material that they gave. This is supposed to be put on the fairings so that they don't get damaged from the exhaust heat, but I actually have plenty of tape that I can use already. So I'm using the foam they gave to replicate the foam on the factory panels. And if it's not thick enough, all you have to do, because it's sticky on one side, is you just layer it a few times and then you have a thicker panel. And I'm noticing that the panels don't squeak, they don't make noise, and they're really solid on the bike now. So hopefully nothing will move around in here either. I'm gonna make sure that I use some zip ties and clean up the wiring really nicely. Here's an example of putting heat reflective tape on the fairings to make sure that they don't melt and that the paint job doesn't get messed up in any way. You can see the manufacturer decided to put just a small strip there, and Hubs decided to go a little overboard. But you know, it's all right. You're not going to see it. It's under the bike. I just want to make sure that these don't get ruined at all, and that the heat moves out the back of the bike. So we should be good. Okay, so we're almost done. We're so close, but we ran into an issue. I still need to remove that front fender, and I didn't realize that there is a bracket in here, which I don't know if you can really see it because it's very dark, but it is the bracket for the brake lines, and it is riveted on. And you can't take off the front fender unless you have a stand to put the bike on to take off the front wheel, and then you can take off the front fender. But I don't own a front stand, so I gotta figure out either what friend I'm gonna borrow a stand from, or I have to go buy one. I do have a rear pit bull stand, which is really nice, but I'm sure the front one's super expensive, and I really don't feel like buying one right now, so hopefully I can borrow one. And then we can get that front fender off. And then from there, we can put on the new front fender, but here's the caveat. It doesn't have the brackets, which a friend of mine said that she didn't use the brackets on her ZX-10. She just let the lines kind of hang there and there's no issues. It's not like necessary, but like, I don't know, my OCD kind of like makes me want to put the brackets on. If that's the case, I'll have to drill them out and rivet them to this fender, or order new ones and rivet them to this fender. Or I could, I guess, just zip tie it, honestly, and you would probably never even realize. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I need to find a stand, so I'm gonna have to call some friends and figure out how to make this work, but it's pretty late, so this is gonna be continued probably tomorrow. All right guys, I'm back and it's another day and it's time to finish the ZX-10. We got to do this front fender, and I got the rivets at Harbor Freight. I got a front pit bull stand and we should be good to go. Fingers crossed we finish the bike and then we can finally go for a ride. So let's see how much trouble this fender gives us. Okay, the front fender is off, front wheel is off. Bike's on the stand. There's the calipers hanging, and now I have to drill out these rivets right here so then I can take these brackets and put them on the new fender, the new front fender, and then install new rivets, which I got at Harbor Freight. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then we gotta put the wheel back on and put the bike back together. It shouldn't take too long. Shouldn't. Keyword is shouldn't. All right, guys, she's finally done, and look how good she looks. I mean, wow, that color is amazing. ABS Fairings knocked it out of the park with this one. It looks absolutely fantastic, and I am blown away. I'm completely in love with this bike all over again. I took some cinematic shots when I went on a ride. That's why she's a little dirty. There's some bug splatter on there, but I'll cue up the cinematic shots, check those out, and then we'll go over some little details. I am at a complete loss of words with how amazing this bike looks. ABS Fairings knocked it out of the park. I did a great job picking the color. I gotta give myself credit. I mean, it looks so damn good. This purple and how it just color shifts like that is amazing. It looks like a different color at every angle, and it is just so beautiful. I love that they threw the little ABS logo here, and we got the ABS logo down here. All the gold matches. We tried to match it as best as we could to the gold that was already on the bike, like the lever. We have the squid here. It looks amazing. I hope you guys like it too. It was really, really, really hard to change the green because the green looked so good as well. I got so many compliments on that color, and I was like, what color can I possibly do that's gonna top this color? And I don't even know if this tops it necessarily because the green was so nice, but it's definitely on the same playing field as the green. I love how rich it is and vibrant, and it's just such a beautiful color. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do a color shift type color. I was thinking about if I wanted to do just a purple, a solid purple. I knew I wanted it to be metallic, but I love this color shift. All the different angles make it so beautiful on a bike, and I am absolutely in love. Just to give you guys a quick few notes on the kit, the quality is amazing. Really, really impressed for an aftermarket brand. The pieces don't really squeak much or like move. I mean, of course this is gonna make noise because there's no support here, but like these are like pretty solid. Like I'm pushing and they are solid. They are attached to the bike. They're not going anywhere. The gaps are really, really good. Everything fits very nicely on this bike, even with some of the OEM parts. The fender was a little bit of a pain because Kawasaki uses rivets. So I actually replaced the rivets with bolts up here. There you go. So I replaced it with bolts. I am also curious if you guys noticed that I did change all of the hardware on the bike to black. And that is thanks to ABS Fairings. They sent me all of the hardware in a powder coated gloss black finish. Now they have all different options you can choose from. I chose to go black so that it's nice and subtle with this color, but you can see all of the hardware on this bike. Every single bolt here is now black, and it just goes so well with the bike. Not that the silver looked terrible, but the silver just popped like too much, and this just blends in nicely. They did such a great job with that. The quality of the bolts are great. They give you so many extra. I have a ton of extra bolts in case I lose one or damage them, or if I need bolts for anything else. So all the exposed hardware is now black. So let me know what you guys think. Big shout out to ABS Fairings for doing an absolutely killer job. They were fantastic to work with, and I'm so proud to say that they are one of my sponsors, and I'm really happy to work with them. I'm excited to see if you guys end up working with them and what kind of builds you come up with. This color is awesome. I love the bike. I hope you guys too. And I appreciate you watching this video. Until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.